Simon & Schuster AudioWorks presents Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Max, I have incredible news.
Yeah?
Max, I have incredible news. You know the service Max, formerly known as HBO Max in the US.
The service I provide? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay, no. Well, you're thinking of the corporation, the HBO Max, right?
I mean the streaming service Max, formerly known as HBO Max.
Yeah?
This is brand new news. This is breaking news. They're changing their name. The name of the service, the app, is being changed again.
Yeah, some consultants are getting paid another bunch of money.
$800 million.
$800 million.
There have been like 2 months worth of constant meetings and calls.
Yeah, just circular. We'll get back to that and we'll circle back on that, and I'll get back to you. And
they've probably had like 7 different, books made up on the marketing potential of the new name.
They had have you ever seen that Pepsi logo document about it, and how they compare the Pepsi logo to the Mona Lisa and stuff like that? Yeah.
They do that that's the thing, everybody makes fun of the Pepsi one, but they do that for every single logo. Every single logo gets a book.
Yeah, I would
like
imagine, but it's that's the one that was actually
the Pepsi
shown.
one is the one that got out, yeah. But they do that for everything. Max, are you ready for the brand new? You're gonna be shocked.
Yeah,
the name
go on.
Max, formerly known as HBO Max, has been rebranded and renamed, and this summer it will be called HBO Max.
So it was called. So it was HBO's Max.
It was HBO Max. Then they had the Discovery merger. Then they said, what, drop the HBO. It's Max
it
now.
Makes Max, yeah.
And that was like a year or 2 ago. And now they've said, hey, you know what? Bring the HBO back. It's HBO Max.
Do you think the consultants from the previous batch, when they decided to do Max, do you think they feel kind of betrayed now? They feel like, I think
the pockets are a bit heavier is what I think.
Yeah, I would imagine. But yeah. Do you think they hired the same one?
David Zaslav. Same board of people that David Zaslav had before.
David Zaslav, the infamous writer of that Voyager episode where they turned into lizards and fucked. Was it? Who was that?
David Zaslav did not write that.
No,
a different guy wrote that, and he was in charge of something else at Warner Brothers. But he was not in charge of all of Warner Brothers and Discovery. Max.
They're all just like a hive mind, okay? So it doesn't matter anyway.
How much do you think this will change your life?
Not very much, because I don't think we have HBO Max nor HBO Max in the UK.
So you don't think HBO Max, formerly known as HBO Max, is going to make a huge difference? Because this might be the change that means we get it. That would be kind of crazy.
That's true.
If we got it, I would pay for HBO Max. Formerly known as Max, formerly known as HBO Max.
It's so confusing. This is the sort of thing that makes when your grandparents go to buy you a video game or something, they're like, this is the Call of Duty, and it's some rip-off Call of the Duty of Call or something that they buy for you. This is the sort of thing that would make that person's head explode violently,
I just wonder if we should do the same,
What, called it Ensigns? Drop Ensigns?
We're going to drop the dead.
Ensigns.
We're going to be Ensigns for a bit. For 3 years, and then we're going to go, you know what, bring back the dead.
And then we pay ourselves consultancy fees for ourselves, to ourselves, and then we pay ourselves consultancy fees again to bring back the dead. Yeah. That's a good one, right? That's a good way to go.
I think it's light money laundering.
Yeah, I can't, this can't be
big sniff there.
I bet if you put, traced who was doing it, what consultants were involved, all of them were insider people, sons and daughters of people that are on the board. I don't want to insinuate that
Discovery Max, HBO Warner Brothers, is doing anything insidious with that.
I don't know if it's legal. I think it's perfectly legal to do that.
I meant
I don't
us.
think.
I meant us.
Okay, us. Okay.
If we did it.
Okay.
But then I think we're small enough that nobody would notice or care.
Yeah, really tiny.
Even if they did notice, they'd be like,
we're small
"Eh."
fry. We're small fry compared
If we were
to
paying
HBO.
ourselves off a consultancy fee, but we were paying ourselves in like M&Ms.
I don't know what. Why would you even do that? Does that do any accounting stuff? Is that how you like pay less taxes or something? I don't know.
It's like when
not
it's like
smart
when you
enough.
do it's like when you do something in your life that you've been putting off for a while, so you have to reward yourself. That's what I'm saying. You know, it's like I had this big phone call I've been putting off. I did the phone call. Gonna guess I'm gonna have a small can of Diet Pepsi.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing because of the boycott.
Diet Pepsi is PepsiCo not doing some stuff too?
I don't
Can
know,
you trace
probably.
that? Can we check that? Yes.
Aren't they all?
They all funnel down into genocide. It's
You can
just
make
like
your
it
own
all
cola.
goes. That's true. When they take like spruce needles and they put it in water and they
That's
put it
crazy
in
to me. Yeah, you
'cause
can
they
just
have,
take
like-
pine needles and put it in water, and
Cause-
then just leave it, and it
'cause it's-
becomes carbonated.
because it's like wild yeast basically that you can use, but it can kill you too because you can develop
It
like fungi
can't
in there
kill
that
you.
it can because you can actually because you're using wild yeast and there could be bad stuff in there too because you can't wash the spruce needles because you need the yeast that lives on the needles.
It
So-
can't. It
so
might be able
it
to.
might
It
it
can't
might hurt
kill
you.
me. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Let me
Okay, yeah.
rephrase. It can't kill me.
Okay.
I'm looking this
Okay.
up. Pine needle soda poison. Some pine needles can be toxic, so it's extremely important to know what the kind you use are edible.
Mm-hmm.
Is pine needle soda safe to drink? Drinking pine needle soda isn't just about a tasty beverage. It comes with some impressive health. This is from homesteadingetc.com.
Okay.
Before I get accused,
We
like,
should-
oh,
we
what
should
the
start-
hell you're looking at? My phone's buzzing. Sorry, let me put that on.
We should
focus
get back
mode.
into. We
Oh,
should
you
become
Ben's
a.
looking at Google AI. He's listening
Yeah.
to Google AI about pine needles. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
This is homesteadingetc.com, which is a website probably written by AI.
AI.
but
Yeah.
I don't know that for sure. So I'm going to use it as a
Therefore,
reliable
yeah.
source.
Mm-hmm.
Pine needles are rich in vitamin C, making this soda a natural immunity booster. What are you talking about? Fungus.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
How
I
about
get-
you
I
have
get-
some fun, and drink this soda. This
We should become a
pine
I
needles.
homesteading podcast from now on.
That's too
We
much
should we
effort,
should
dude.
we should buy a field somewhere and
wanna be
document our
fucking-
adventures on.
You want to become Clarkson's farm,
Yeah. I don't think.
and then take our tractors down to Parliament and say we're being oppressed because we
Yeah.
can't have no inheritance tax. Boo!
Well,
They're
you know.
trying to give the biggest farm slightly more inheritance tax. Boo!
Exactly, but you know it's and also the farms are sometimes used as a way to not pay inheritance tax because they're barely functioning farms. They don't actually do any farming.
that's-
They just
yeah,
are
that's what
used
I'm
as
saying.
loopholes to
Yeah,
not pay
that's what I'm
inheritance
implying.
tax.
This is what
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is
I'm
making.
just saying. I'm clarifying for
But
the viewers.
that doesn't stop them from going down, driving
Yeah.
all their tractors outside of Parliament and going, we spend all day making your food and
That's
you're going to give
true.
us 1% more tax.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hire immigrants to work my farm, so I don't have to be taxed more by you lot
That's
out here
true.
in the city.
They can't do it anymore because
They don't know how.
They don't know. They can't
They
get
lost the
people to
recipe.
come. They come back. They can't because the UK exited the euro zone, so
Mm.
they can't get immigrants to work anymore for free, basically. Yeah, those were like horror stories. Some horror stories from like people that came to the UK like in the 80s, like before,
Yeah.
just before the kind of like opening of the borders and stuff. And yeah, those were not fun times for the migrant worker.
Yeah. But you
but
see, it's awesome because I see video online of farmers go down to Parliament and spray manure on a building because
yeah,
they're fucking
they
based, bro.
they took lessons from the French, you know.
Yeah, well, that's what the French did. We didn't
The
do that.
French
They
do
didn't
that,
do that
never.
in the UK because they're a bit more spineless. But I don't think the French farmers needed to be doing all that either. I'm gonna
Yeah.
assume.
I don't know. I'll do whatever I'll do. We should protest, honestly.
Check out Dead Ensigns on HBO Max, formerly known as Max, formerly known as HBO Max. This is your number one stop for a podcast if you want to know about TV, movie, music, book. Just
We
the
only-
one. I'm reading
only-
one. Are you?
A movie? I'm reading a movie. Is
Book?
that you're
I said
asking me?
book. I said book.
No, I'm not reading any books.
Well, I'm reading one, and there you go. Because I didn't say books plural. I said book. Yeah, you
the
can come here
Bible,
if
the
you wanna
Holy
know about
Bible,
book.
right? That's what you meant, right?
I'm reading the Holy Bible of
Oh yeah.
of chilling out.
Okay. It just has
Excellent.
instead of a
calm,
cross,
cool,
it has
collected.
a big weed field for like leaf on the front of it.
It's still a cross, but the cross is two skateboards. It's a skateboard and a surfboard.
Or it's like two joints.
Surfboard, long vertical line. Skateboard, smaller horizontal line. on the
That's a
top
good
half.
one. Good
That's
visual.
that's the vibe.
That's true, and it is appropriate because we both watched a movie about the California ways, I guess, right? That's what inspired you, I would imagine, to look into the book of chilling out, the holy book of chilling out, I guess that's what you would call it. The New
Well,
Testament.
first of all, I didn't
old-
talk about it before. I don't think. Okay.
Don't read the Old Testament of the chilling out because that's problematic. There's some bad stuff in there.
Read the
There's-
cool Testament.
The cool Testament is the newer
Cool
version.
Testament.
Yeah, the revisioned book.
The
But yeah, what was you
Cool
gonna say?
Testament revised edition. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say before I get into that, I guess because it's part of my PTA watch and it's been long enough that I can't remember. Did I talk about Phantom Thread? I think I did.
Yes.
Okay, all right then. Well, we'll just say we watched Licorice Pizza. I don't know, why did you watch this one specifically?
Because I thought about it at some point, and
Alright.
that's why I decided to watch it. Because I was going to watch it at some point, and I heard you guys talk about it and stuff, and I was like, I'll watch Licorice Pizza. why not?
I don't think anybody else in our friend group has seen this except for me.
I don't know. I would have
So
to
I
ask
don't-
somebody because
I don't remember talking to anybody about this film. At least not having. I remember probably being like, I watched this movie and enjoyed it at the time. Even though it was divisive, we'll get into how divisive the movie is.
Yeah, I would imagine, honestly.
I don't think anybody else talked to me about it.
It doesn't matter. We're talking about it
Interesting.
now.
I was just curious. I was just so interested to hear that you were like, I'll watch that one. Now, The Master is one I think you should watch, but
The
Licorice Pizza, you
Master
watched it.
Beta.
You open, Max, because I have seen this one before. So
We watched a movie called Licorice Pizza.
Paul Thomas Anderson, his most recent outing,
Yeah,
came
was
out
it
2
2020?
years ago.
Yeah.
2022.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm gonna say 2022. Licorice Pizza. Licorice Pizza. It was
It is a weird
2021.
movie.
28th of December 2021.
It's interesting. I'm not really sure what I should think about this movie in terms of like what kind of what's the through line of the main character basically in this film. Like, are we ending on a positive, or are we kind of because like the entire movie seems like it's implying that the main character, I don't remember the names of these characters because I watched a bunch of other stuff, so I don't remember, is kind of lost, right? She's directionless, you know, and stuff
Cooper
like that.
Hoffman, son of Philip Seymour Hoffman,
Okay, all right.
main character, and Alana Haim playing the leading actress.
And you know, I guess the divisive thing about the movie that Ben mentioned is there's quite an age gap,
Problematic age gap.
and also underage, right? Relationship. It's a 25-year-old woman engaging in a relationship with a 15-year-old, I think, right? That's what he is. So it is a very weird sort of
problematic movie. This movie, people were talking about it like they shouldn't be making movies like this.
Yeah, because I'm like
they're glorifying an adult and a child in a relationship.
Because like that's the thing. It's like what I was trying to say is like you got this kind of getting your life together. She's trying to kind of realize what she wants to do and stuff, and like I don't think the ending is kind of positive in a way. I feel like it's shot like as it's like, oh, they're getting together, you know, like at the end you got they finally kind of, I guess, get into a relationship, but at the same time you kind of see that he doesn't really care about her in a weird way, you know. She's kind of a little bit obsessed with him, you know, in a way, you know, trying to, she can't move on from him, you know. And
see, here's the thing, I disagree. This is the kind of movie for me. I always need. It was the same the first time I watched it. I need to sleep on it a bit and hear what other people say first before it starts to like solidify into my head as nuggets of thought. You know.
Yeah.
But I think it is a through and through a coming of age story of two different characters, and one who is coming of age late.
Yeah.
And one who is coming of age early, you could say.
Yeah.
So Cooper Hoffman is trying to grow up in a period of his life when nobody will take him seriously because he's 15 years old.
Yeah, because he's 15 years old.
He's trying to accelerate to being an adult, and part of that coming of age for him.
He's the Ed type of character.
And Ed as in Ed and Eddie.
Ed. No, the hustler, the
Eddie,
hustler, Eddie, yeah, exactly.
He's a kind of Eddie. He's a bit of an Eddie. I think that's a fair assumption. Yeah. He also has two cronies as well.
He does. He has
even
younger than
cronies.
him.
He has three cronies. I think two of them are supposed to be his age, and one of them is his little brother. I think.
Yeah.
That's right. But Cooper Hoffman is trying to grow up, and part of that want to grow up is attaining Alana Haim's character, right? Mm-hmm. Is gaining not just, I think, her interest, but her respect. You know, like a sense of like she sees him as like a younger brother almost throughout the film. I think is the implication. Yeah. There's a very like she's flirtatious. They're flirtatious with each other, and she's flirtatious back. She's kind of leading him on a little bit, but at the same time, she never really. She doesn't commit to him, and you get the sense that he wants to. At the same time, Alana Haim is a character that is 25 and has not come of age yet.
On.
You know?
Yeah, she does. She hasn't moved.
The movie starts, and she's like working this dead end job, and her parents are on her about like finding somebody, and she gets infatuated a little bit. She gets obsessed with this boy, Cooper Hoffman, and it kind of like drags her back a bit into that, you know, because at the same time, although he's like trying to grow up and be like, I'm gonna start this business, I'm gonna do this, I'm a child actor, I'm gonna open my own business, we're gonna sell water beds, I'm gonna start installing water beds for people. Oh, that didn't work. Gonna do pinball, you know.
Yeah.
She's kind of like...
He's like moving. He's like constantly hustling. Like that's what it is. Like he stopped the one business. He started another one, you know, like, and like, yeah, exactly. And she hasn't like, from what she does, she doesn't really do anything. Like that's the thing. Like she's stagnant in her life, you know, in a way. But
with that, I think they kind of meet in the middle. is the idea. And I think the movie is sort of not necessarily promoting an underage relationship, but I think it's using it as a setting to explore the idea of like age gap in a relationship, an age difference, and how I guess love can overcome it. Because at the end, they're both faced with very like they're throughout the film they're shown like lots of very sad older people who have their lives together.
You have the actor.
They're very sad. You have the actor played by Sean Penn. You had Bradley Cooper's character. You have the governor played by Benny Safdie. You know, you have a whole host of adults who have their life together, but ultimately they present this air of like sadness where it's like you never really fully come of age. You know, everybody's always constantly moving forward and waiting or trying to accelerate yourself is not the way to go, and you maybe kind of just need to grab onto something that makes you happy, I guess. At least that's my interpretation of it.
Yeah, but I feel also there is the part of that is also the fact that they're all men too.
This definitely. There's a lot
like,
of like, especially for the time period it's in, for the 70s. There's a lot of like gender dynamics at play here. I mean, one of the first things you see in the film is like. I mean, I think the contrast you're supposed to see that sets up Cooper Hoffman's character is like, although he's childish and he's really flirtatious and stuff, he's more of a gentleman than the actual adults in Alana Haim's life, because she walks by the photographer at the very end of their big scene.
It's
and he just like smacks her ass like immediately.
Like...
No conversation or anything. It's just like he's just this disgusting, chauvinistic old man. Lecherous, you could say.
But
and there's a lot of that throughout the film. Like Sean Penn's character is also very like it's similar. You've Bradley Cooper's character as well is very like Cooper Hoffman is like mature even though he's a child. He has this air of being like more mature than these men.
But there is that implication, kind of undertone of Cooper Hoffman's character's like he's kind of underhanded a little bit about this relation.
Definitely
because you hear she like goes like she meets in just the insane the Japanese restaurant, and you have the guy.
That was another thing.
So
people, that was a gag. The guy played by he is a comedian.
Yeah,
he's the guy who's the American guy who runs the Japanese restaurant, and he talks to his wife in the most like horrible stereotypical Japanese accent.
Like
as though it's easier for her to understand.
Yeah, because
that was a very divisive gag at the time.
Originally, I thought when I was watching the first time it happened, I was like, "Is it supposed to imply that he's speaking Japanese, but he's really bad?"
No, because you get the way
he.
It's
like the way she hears him talk. It's like horrible Japanese. But no, he says, "I don't speak Japanese."
The great punchline at the end where he's got a second wife. He's got a second Japanese wife now because the other one is gone, and he does his horrible racist accent towards her, and she replies in Japanese like the first one did. And Alana's character says like, "What did she say?" And he goes, "Oh, I don't speak Japanese."
I don't speak Japanese. Exactly. It's so insane.
It's such a funny joke. Very divisive because it's rooted in racism, but I don't think it's. I think it's again. I think that's part of it. I think there are so many terrible role models in this film.
And the thing that I was gonna finish up, the thought I was thinking, you have this, although he's following, the main character, trying to seduce her, I guess, or something, you hear these kind of rumors from all these other women, that he's like, oh, is he pestering you for a hand job, or he in the waterbed, like when they're selling the waterbeds, he goes off with a different girl, so there is that when they meet in the restaurant, he's possessive, like definitely he's very kind of so it's like
but I think at part of it is him growing out, because I think that's the sort of thing he comes to see in older men that he meets,
true, I guess,
and it's the same thing that Alana I think doesn't want from him, but I think that's sort of what the end of the movie is supposed to show. You know, she goes to that dinner with Benny Safdie, and it turns out that he's like a closeted homosexual man.
Yeah.
With a boyfriend, but he's putting his career above that, and he's trying to avoid having that be seen at all.
Yeah.
There's this like investigative reporter who's clearly like tailing them to try and find any evidence of that. And he uses Alana's character to pretend that his boyfriend is actually Alana's boyfriend, and they're just meeting up for a quick drink, and then they're going to go their separate ways. But then at the same time, you have Cooper Hoffman, who's got a very successful business now, right? He's opened this pinball thing, and it's super successful, but it doesn't mean anything because he pushed away Alana in the end, you know, because he just couldn't be seen in that way to her, you know.
Yeah.
And I think they kind of meet in the middle at the end. I think they find each other, you know. It's a very schmaltzy movie. It feels old. It feels like an old film, which I think is the vibe that Paul Thomas Anderson is going for, and like entrenching itself in that kind of like 70s romantic semi-comedy vibe.
I do feel a little bit like it is a bit infantilizing to the main character, like, you know,
be specific,
in terms of the fact that, like,
no, I mean, which main? You just said the main character, and there's.
I mean Alana's character. Right. Sorry, because I feel like the movie kind of follows her the most, but that's why I called her the main character. But yeah,
I think I would say that's why, because I don't know which one you would mean by main character, because I'd say both of them are the main lead.
I don't know why, but I just that's the one that for some reason I picked as the main character. But yeah. You know, the idea of her, like, kind of falling for this young boy, you know, and this is a person at a stage in her life that could change, you know, in a couple of years, you know, because and it is kind of like tricks that he's kind of doing to woo her, you know, in a way, you know, and it's. And also, it is kind of like in these sort of relationships, it is the gravity of like denying this relationship is on her, you know, as the older person going like, okay, I need to disengage. This is not all right, you know, like this is not because he's 15, right? He's a young boy that's developing, let's say, you know.
Yeah, I think
so he's not thinking straight. So, but the thing is, this also the setting is like the 70s.
Yeah, I think that's part of the issue with looking at it with that mindset, you know, where it's like I agree, where it's like to look at it from. I mean, if the movie was set any later than the 70s, I would start to be like more. Okay, this is just gross, you know. There's something about the setting. There's something about both of their characters and where they are in their lives that like sell it better, I think. And I don't know, maybe I wouldn't say that Cooper Hoffman is like tricking. I think the point is at the beginning he is very like disingenuous, I guess, you know. But I think by the end he's supposed to be like more genuine in his interest for her, you know. But I don't know. Guess. I mean, I like the movie. I think I didn't enjoy it as much as when I first saw it. But mostly I think just because it's like this time around, I recognize like it's a very long film and it's very slow, and like it's all just like, you know, it's all just people. I'm not saying this movie needs a couple chase scenes in it, obviously.
there is a rolling down the hill.
That's a great scene.
That's
a great scene.
So
it's a great scene, and I love how it ends.
I do like
she Alana is like realizing that she's spending time with 4 teenage boys constantly, and they're children, and 2, the Bradley Cooper's thing at the end of that scene was where he like throws the trash can through the window, walks away, and then the 2 women in like the tennis outfits walk on, and he's like, "Hey, quick question: do you girls like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches?"
Yeah. Do you like chunky or smooth? And it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Funny, man.
I think I like
Bradley Cooper's great in this. Bradley Cooper's like a
really
turning point in the film.
he's like psychotic. I like the way he's like portrayed to be just immense, just completely off the chain. Like when he goes to the gas station and he takes the hose and then puts a lighter in front of the hose and he's like, "Fucking get me!" Like he's like, "Let me go first."
The writing is incredible. The movie is written so perfectly. I think this shows Paul Thomas Anderson's strength in like writing characters and dialogue in great situations
definitely.
and stuff.
But
I don't know. I don't think I rate this.
The kind of controversy when it comes to the.
It was divisive.
It is,
especially with the gag with the Japanese restaurant guy owner and his two wives and stuff. People were like, "This is it's not funny," or rather, like the punchline of this is that it's racist, and it's like, no, not necessarily. The punchline is that he's a horrible guy.
He's a horrible person.
Within that time, people were like, "Oh, sushi, how exotic!" You know, people wouldn't call him on this because he's the guy who's like, "Well, I've lived in Japan for like 20 years, so I know what I'm doing."
I know what I'm doing.
He doesn't actually even speak Japanese.
But I love
very funny joke.
The kind of the commercial, like the commercial read that they do for them, like when they come in initially with his first wife, and they're like talking
the
about
dressed waitresses and stuff.
Exotic dressed, but not just that, but it's like sushi and the dishes from Japan, but also homely American meals, like at the end.
For those who aren't too adventurous, who aren't too adventurous, we have good old American classics as well.
It's so funny. Like, I was like, nice.
It's a good movie. I like this movie. But I think after watching all of the other Paul Thomas Anderson films, ones that I had seen already, and also the many that I hadn't seen, I put it on the lower end, I guess. Mm-hmm. I think it's a good. It's a good film, but it's certainly like one of the slower ones. I'd rate it higher than Inherent Vice. I feel like Hard 8, Inherent Vice, and Licorice Pizza are maybe like my lower three of.
I really, when it comes to romance, I like Punch Drunk Love a lot more than this movie.
I would say Punch Drunk Love is a stronger movie than this. It's tighter as well. It's like a tighter film.
True, because it is shorter, and I just. I don't know. When I was watching Punch Drunk, I guess it's mostly that's the thing, right? It's like when I was watching Punch Drunk, I said it when I was kind of smiling to myself watching the movie because it was kind of seeing this relationship develop, of these like two people that are, of age, appropriately and of age. There isn't that problematic element there that you're like, should I be thinking of this, in a way.
Again, I'm more favorable to this film. I understand and I agree. It's like, this is not a good structure for really. It's not good ages for two people to be in a relationship like that together. But it's something I can put aside and be like, I'll just I'll meet the movie on its terms here. Where it's like, I don't think the movie is trying to say 15-year-olds and 25-year-old women should date. But I think the movie is trying to say that
Paul Anderson said about this, because he's like, I totally agree with this. Like, he's just got an interview where he's like, no, this is completely... And you're like, oh, okay, maybe there's something else in there, but I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Max.
It's just a movie.
The Abyss. We're falling now. We're falling deeper and deeper into the trenches of
That's
the ocean.
True. This topic is kind of like the Abyss when you think about it.
The Abyss.
What did you think of The Abyss? That's another movie that we watched. I decided to watch also because I
visited family this weekend, and over the weekend I was like scrolling through stuff to put on, and landed on The Abyss. One of my parents was like, have you seen that? I like that film. I haven't seen it in a long time. And I was like, I've been meaning to watch it because I like James Cameron.
Yeah,
so
you love James Cameron.
Well, I'll tell you what, I loved this one. I really enjoyed The Abyss.
It's a weird-ass film.
It's not the movie I thought it was. I had no idea. This whole time I had no idea it was so like... It was not romantic, but you know what I mean. It was very It was very nice. It was very optimistic. You know, it was a very optimistic.
Yeah, that's
film.
true. Unlike Avatar,
I enjoyed this.
was-
Well, I can see how this evolves into Avatar.
absolutely, especially at the end.
Yeah.
Let me, because I just want to check something.
Sure.
$43 million is for the budget for this movie.
Yeah,
That's
I
not
feel
that
like
many.
this
That's
was
not
maybe...
that much. Maybe I
think it was
guess if you converted it, but if that's not
I
that
think at
much,
the
'cause,
time
like,
it was a very expensive film.
I would imagine, because you look at this, like that's what I was catching myself
Hold on,
doing,
sorry.
looking
Can
at
you...
this
A lot of
abyss
loud
outside.
noise coming at the abyss is coming for me.
This is coming for you.
I think
Dave.
one of those, like, you know, those like things that people do now where they have those carts that everybody drinks on. It's like a moving bar, and the people like pedal to make it move.
Okay, yeah.
I think one of those went by, and I fucking hate them. I
The
hate
DUI
those so
mobile.
much. No, because the person driving it is not drunk.
drunk. You don't know.
They're just
You
steering.
don't know.
The power is drunk. The engine is drunk, but the steering
by
is
alcohol.
sober.
Yeah.
It's powered by alcohol. I hate those things. Are so obnoxious, man. I hate them. I know everybody's having fun on them. Can't fucking when I see them driving by. Oh man, I see one like every couple weeks, and it pisses me off every time. I'm a grump, I guess. Anyway, the abyss. Let me climb out of my abyss of what I just lived.
Yeah,
What were you gonna say, Mark?
I was just gonna say that when I was watching this movie, I caught myself thinking about this. Is like, this must have been so expensive. Like looking at the sets for this movie, and like having to shoot underwater and stuff, like, and having those like submarines and all, like, it's insane. Like the production of this movie is insane. And I having looked at all the like trivia right on this, like, yeah, it was insane because they had to build like a big tub that they basically were able to shoot in and stuff like that, and they had to like shoot in with like what they call like oxygen apparatuses and stuff like that, and there were incidents where people nearly drowned, and apparently like none of the actors that were in this movie, they said that it was just horrible, like they would never do this ever again basically. But I guess it created something unique in a way, you know, for what it is. And yeah, there was this one bit that was scary. Like I when I was reading this, I was like cringing of like how scary that situation would have been. So basically,
I calculated I did 45 million.
Yeah.
In 1989, in comparison to now. That budget now would be at like 100 million.
Jesus.
$100 million by the inflation calculator.
Well, Electric State was made for what? 400 million?
350 million, I think.
And it was
Well, you don't know how much it made.
That's true. Maybe it was a success. Maybe we'll get an Electric State 2, and we don't even know.
I'm sure Netflix will tell us.
Reading this bit was like, I was cringing. James Cameron nearly drowned during production while he was weighed down at the bottom of a giant water tank during filming. His assistant director had failed to warn him to refill his oxygen, and realizing that he was running out of air, Cameron called for help to underwater DP Al Giddings or whatever. However, Giddings couldn't hear him. He was near deaf from the old diving bell accident. And with no one else nearby, Cameron realized he had to go to the top side as soon as possible. He quickly released his helmet and harness and weights and started to swim with great speed to the surface, exhaling all the way in order to prevent lung damage from decompression. One of the safety divers held him down and gave him a regulator, but it was broken and only produced water. So it was pumping water into his mouth underwater.
That's insane, man.
Cameron tried to release himself, but the diver, thinking that Cameron was simply having a panic attack, held him even tighter. Cameron only survived because he punched the diver in the face and reached the surface before passing out. The AD and the diver were fired the same day. Jesus Christ. It's insane finding yourself in a situation like that, you know? But
I think the fact that he was panicking and he was like, oh, he's having a panic attack, I need to keep him underwater, is probably not a good response, to be fair.
Yeah, because I guess he did, because we even in this movie, we see people panicking when they in the water, and it's like a person I knew, he was a professional diver, the professional diver, he said that it happens, like people will panic and do insane things. That's why you like the most important things while diving is to stay calm, like to control the situation you're in.
I mean, they have a whole scene about it in the film.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why
a
diver who starts panicking. And the thing is, Ed Harris's character tells him, "You just gotta remain calm, stay here. We'll come back for you."
Yeah, exactly.
And he gets attacked. Does he?
No, does he? Yeah, but it's yeah, but like just the idea of like they put the regulator in and it starts pumping water into his mouth. It's just insane. Like that, just if he a different way, you know, we would have never got an Avatar. You know,
it shows his dedication to the craft, because I feel like many other directors, when going through that event, would be like, get a different director. I'm not finishing this film.
Yeah,
but
I'm never touching water again.
This was his thing. Not only did he touch water again, he went deeper than most men have ever been.
True.
In a special submarine. He loves the fucking water. He loves the deep.
Yeah, he loves it. He can't keep
it
away.
I can fucking get it, man.
Make James Cameron.
They got those sexy ass stingray aliens down there.
If you're listening to this, make the Abyss 2 even deeper. That's the even abysser.
The Abyss. Abyssia.
Abyssier.
I feel like we'll see. Maybe Avatar will go even deeper into Pandora's water.
Maybe the kind of you know, the hidden thing about the next movie is that the Fire Nation isn't somewhere else on the surface of the planet. It's so deep on the ground. It's so hot down there. There's lava.
For a thermal vent.
It's like what there's like lava there, and that's why they're called that Fire Nation or whatever, because they're so deep, you know. And James Cameron gets to get back into that sub.
They definitely need to go underwater prominently again, because Avatar 2, they invented all this shit
technology
for doing like underwater mocap, and the idea that they would only do that prominently in one film is crazy. But we'll see. Yeah. Hopefully they release the fucking trailer for Fire and Ash soon.
Yeah, exactly.
So pissed off. People saw that at CinemaCon like a month ago, and we still haven't seen it. They ran like Disney had like 2 big movies in IMAX or whatever since then, and it's just not been there.
If someone has a webcam, like
there's a camera
recording camera of that trailer, you send it to
gmail.com.
You can send it directly to Ben. He'll be the only one that watches. I
Email
won't
it directly to deadensigns@gmail.com.
Yeah.
The Abyss. So I thought it was gonna be or what I expected it to be was like underwater alien, you know?
Yeah, it does feel a little bit like that, especially with the Navy SEALs that are
the characters are trapped underwater, deep underwater, and there's something fucking with them, you know? But it turns out, not at all, actually. The enemy in this film is man.
Yeah, that's true.
Man is its own enemy in this film. Yeah. Because they're starting World War III up top on land while these characters are trying to communicate with aliens.
Yeah.
And stop them from setting a fucking nuke off on the aliens.
Yeah. There's commentary on like the fact that like the military Navy SEALs that get sent down there, they're kind of the cause of the issue in the end, right? Because of like it is that saying of like if you with all the thing that you have, the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail, you know. Their solution to the problem that they encounter is to destroy it.
Yeah,
you know?
It's like a military needs to justify itself, right?
Exactly.
You need to if you're going to build yourself defense, you need to justify the reason for having the defense, which is fear and loathing of your fellow man.
Yeah, fear and loathing.
Because it's even at the very end of the film, one of the fucking, I can't remember which character it is, says to like the general or whatever who's in charge of the soldiers that go down, is just like, because essentially they find world peace at the end of the film.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't think of it that way.
He says, looks like you boys are going to be out of a job. And it's like, I liked it. It was, I kind of enjoyed the optimism of it, in that we just need to like, we need to come together, you know.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the only
like,
thing that's stopping us from coming together are ourselves, essentially.
It is very funny that like when the aliens,
schmaltzy, but it's nice. I like it.
Spoilers for the Abyss, I guess. Yeah. When they bring him, what's he called? Tom Harris, Todd Harris,
Ed Harris's character,
Ed Harris character,
Bud,
into the mother base, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, that big ship.
They show him the logs of the messages, like, "Oh, I love you, wife," and stuff. And I thought it was really funny that they like intercepted that, and that was the thing that they.
TV stuff, they got all the other stuff recorded. I think it's fair enough that they were listening, and I like that whole sequence was great, where he's in the like oxygenated water suit,
it's like
going down, like, and he can't speak because his lungs are filled with oxygenated water, and he has to just type stuff out, and they're trying to talk to him and keep him calm and stuff, and it's this big emotional moment where him and his ex-wife, or his soon-to-be ex-wife, finally reconnect, essentially, you know, and he's going down on this one-way trip, you know. He's gonna die at the bottom because he's not gonna be able to get back up after they defuse the bomb.
This is like the early kind of the classic of like that era of movies where everyone's divorced or separated, or there's like that sort of thing. Like I was kind of thinking about, I was like, oh yeah, there is some really relationship issue, but I liked it, and it does, like,
it was
I
earnest.
was just catching myself of just like the execution of this movie, you know, like it's like,
no, the sets
insane.
Were all really nice. The effects are obviously dated, but I feel like for the time they're really crazy and interesting. All the stuff with the manipulated water and everything.
And
the aliens themselves were like practical for the most part, which is cool.
It is a very hopeful film. And
it is. It's very earnest and it's very optimistic. I think that's James Cameron's strongest suit, is he's very earnest in his filmmaking.
Yeah,
I think that's what makes the Avatar films so enjoyable for me, is that he really does feel like he believes in the message that him and his crew are trying to say about preserving our home, you know.
And you know, and have sex with aliens. I think that's another message that he has, even in that. That's like, you get the initial of the Abyss, where he has sex with the aliens and then they release him. There's world peace, right? That's what happens. That's why it cuts away from.
Yeah, they have the big tube of water over his crotch, and he's like, whoa, whoa.
Ed Harris, you were so good. We're going to give you world peace. We're going to save Earth for you. And then we have, you know,
world peace.
And then
the army guys were crazy. Man.
Yeah, because he went through like the weird like barotrauma thing that they go through.
Yeah,
like
the psychosis from the pressure.
Yeah, and it's like the idea of like hierarchy, you know, because he's like the head Navy SEAL, so therefore. Instead of
follow him.
They have to follow him, and this was what causes the entire situation. Because they don't want to break that hierarchy,
the chain of command.
They don't want to tell him like, "Dude, you're fucking crazy." Because he's like that's the thing. He's like obviously crazy. Like he's shaking, he's sweating.
They set up his character pretty well at the beginning when he's interacting with the doctor, the engineer. Ed Harris is a soon-to-be ex-wife, and she's trying to like tell them, hey, if you get any signs that you're having this problem, you need to say something and don't let it go away. And he's very like, just let us do our fucking job, lady.
Yeah.
Okay?
Everyone's checked out.
We know,
Everyone's checked out.
Yeah, we've all been checked out already. We're good. And then obviously the reveal as soon as they're on is he's starting to get the shakes already, and he's like, probably fine.
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, it couldn't hit me. Like that's the thing. Yeah, it couldn't happen to me, could it? Like I'm so fucking good. I'm a fucking Navy SEAL.
It's just a little cold.
It's just a little cold.
I think another thing that this movie made me realize about James Cameron is that he's great at making small like groups filled with like good camaraderie. I think all of the people that work together, all the like
the scene,
all of the underwater oil people like have great chemistry with each other, and it runs throughout the whole film. They always the whole film is like, oh, these people feel like they're written very well, and it's all performed great with their like these people are good friends with each other.
You see why they're working together, because like sometimes there is that like level of writing sometimes where people are just so hateful. They're not funny. They're like spiteful towards each other, like, and they're shown as like best friends. But like, you listen to the way they talk to each other, and you're like, I would never be friends with this person. I would never want to be like, and yeah, exactly. Like this is like,
but everybody in the Abyss feels really natural on a protagonist team.
Yeah, and the scene where was Mary Elizabeth, Mary, she dies, in the movie, and they revive her. Like that entire scene is so like impactful, like, and the entire crew is like, like, it is. There's many. The movie is long, so it's a very long movie.
It's longer than I thought it was. Yeah,
it's a very long movie, but yeah, great. It's a
great. It's very surprised by what it was.
Maybe the Abyss is a good thing.
I enjoyed it.
It is like there's that implication of like, oh, the abyss being like a bad thing. That's what, like, when I hear the word abyss, right? You you kind of associate it with like, badness or evil hiding, but you find hope in the abyss here, like that's
people are always like stare into it and it stares back and it's like, well, maybe I wanted to step back.
Maybe there's cool aliens there that will help us. Maybe
there's some chill aliens that will bring us world peace. They'll show us that we can be united.
Literal water angels.
They come up and say, we're going to wipe you out with 10-mile-high waves all across your planet unless you're nice to each other. And they're like, all right, okay. We'll be nice to, all right, you know what? When you put it like that, we'll be nice. And then secretly Russia and America are in the back rooms like, how the fuck do we kill these aliens?
And that's what unifies us. Secretly, that's what unifies us.
How do we get that water technology off of them?
How the fuck can I make CGI faces with water? How the fuck do they do that?
We need to be having that kind of fun with the water, Mr. President.
Can I make it into a beautiful woman? Can I shape this water into a beautiful woman?
When we get our hands on this water technology, you're going to be able to turn the ocean into whatever you want.
Whatever I want.
Most important thing is, we do it before the Kremlins do.
The British. But yeah, there was this like the funny scene that made me kind of roll my eyes in this movie is when Ed Harris this is kind of beginning of the film. Ed Harris is talking to the that one's pretty funny too. But like when he's talking to the control at the top, like on the boat on the surface, and they're talking about the hurricane is coming and it's called whatever Fred, or I don't know what it was, but he's like, we should call hurricanes after women's name, and then his wife walks in through the door from the hurricane, and I was like, come on, James Cameron, I get it, okay, she's like a hard ass, you know
what I like is, I think you were talking about it recently, but this does have a similar thing to Armageddon, but they justify the need for like blue collar workers instead of trained professionals way better than Armageddon does.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Armageddon, they're just like, we got to do it this way. And this one, it's like, it will take us too long to get our guys out there, and you're the closest ship, so we need you to do it now because the hurricane's coming in.
And everybody respects each other, like that's the thing, no one is like, like maybe she's a bit like hard to deal with, but she's she's an extra, like no one else can do what she does, you know, in this situation. But yeah,
It's
a good movie.
I like it.
Well, what else? What else have
Well,
we got to
speaking
talk
of
about?
the Kremlin, they blew it up, Max.
They blew it up. The
In
Kremlin
Mission
got
Impossible
blew up.
Ghost
Oh,
Protocol.
I forgot that you watched all of this Mission Impossible movies, except for the US one, right?
And then, actually, I didn't. I was gonna watch the second to last one, Dead Reckoning, last night, but I wasn't able to, so I'll watch it.
Dead
before
Ringer.
Next one. But then you get Rogue Nation as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mission Impossible Fallout. And I gotta say, from Ghost Protocol on, that's 3 really good movies.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's 3 really good movies. Because Mission Impossible 1, great start. Mission Impossible 2 is a John Woo film, so it's going to be a little weird. It feels very out of place. It's a cool movie, and it has some cool stuff in there.
Don't people
like it.
call it, like people call it the worst, right? Mission
This
Impossible
is the
2,
one that a lot of
so,
people
yeah.
put as the lowest
Yeah.
one. I don't think it's bad. I think it's got that John Woo style to it. You know, there's some
Yeah, he
very
is very
interesting scenes
characteristic,
and
yeah.
really crazy stuff in there. Some really awesome action set pieces that you don't
Doves.
see in
Do
the
we
other
get
ones.
doves in this one?
There are lots of pigeons, slow-mo
That's-
pigeons and stuff. There's a great scene at the end, before the big climactic fight between Ethan Hunt and the bad guy, where he blows up the doors in this underground chamber to this to the bad guy's meeting, where he's trying to sell the disease or whatever it is, the virus that he's trying to sell to the bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the biggest aura farming moment in any of these films, I think. He
Okay.
fucking, straight up, he just like, the bad guy looks through the fog where the doors have been blasted open, and a slow motion, Ethan Hunt just walks past the door, like mogging him, just staring directly at him. Like, yeah, I did that. Come and fucking get me. And he just goes. He doesn't even go into the room. He just walks past the door and looks at him. It's so awesome. There's lots of cool stuff like that. Mission Impossible 3 might be the weakest one for me, but it has Philip Seymour Hoffman in it, and I kind of like him as a villain. I think he's a cool villain. But it's not a great movie, I think. But then, Ghost Protocol is fucking awesome, man.
Okay.
And I was like, Ghost Protocol might be my favorite. It's got great banter between Ethan Hunt now has, like, I think, a crew that are a bit more, like, crucial to the story. You know? Mission Impossible 1 starts with, like, his whole crew getting killed, and he needs to replace it with, like, a couple ne'er-do-wells and one of the survivors. But it's not really about the crew. Mission Impossible 2 isn't about the crew at all. It's about Ethan Hunt. Mission Impossible 3, not really about a crew. But Ghost Protocol onwards is when it's like, here's Ethan Hunt, but here's his other guys, you know, like Simon Pegg and stuff, as Benji. And Luther's there for all of them, obviously. Ving Rhames is in every single one, but, you know, that's just like a
It's
constant.
a constant, yeah.
But then, I wasn't... No, it was crazy, but Rogue Nation was even better. And then this is the one that everybody says it is the best one, and I agree. I don't know if it's my favorite, but I do agree that it's definitely the best one of all the films. Fallout is fucking incredible. Mission Impossible Fallout is fucking awesome. Do you want to know how good it is, man?
I can't comment on this, Ben, because I don't remember these movies.
No, I know. I'm just saying, do you want to know how good it is?
How good is it?
It made Henry Cavill watchable, man.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. He's the one where he reloads his hands.
He does the fucking... Yeah, he, like, cocks his fists.
He cocks
and it's
his
fucking
fist.
awesome.
Yeah.
If this was the only Henry Cavill film I had ever seen, I would think Henry Cavill was a good actor.
Your favorite actor, yeah.
I would, yeah. I wouldn't need all of the stupid
he has a mustache
Warhammer
in this
PC
one, right?
gaming stuff that every other stupid moron needs
Come
to like
on,
him.
Cav, Ben. Fuck.
I have a hardline stance here. A
He's
lot
got-
of people like him. I do not think he's a good actor, and I think he would be completely forgettable if not for the fact that his in interviews is like, I'm PC gaming master race, and I paint little guys. And that makes everybody go, yes, he's Superman.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's why he's smart. You know?
He's got a
Maybe
good publicist, that's for sure.
He's got a good publicist and stuff, or I don't know. Do you think the publicist is like, oh yeah, do Warhammer stuff? I don't know.
No, I think he enjoys it, but I think the publicist is like, talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
We need something to humanize you, because I'll be honest, outside of that, you don't seem like a human.
Because you look like a chunk of muscle, yeah.
You look like a
huge
homunculus.
Homunculus, yeah.
You look like a
But
golem who was taught about Hollywood 2 days ago.
Yeah, they make him out of clay, and they're like, "You're going to conquer Hollywood." What is it called? What was I going to say? Is this the one where he's got a mustache? Right, he also has a mustache.
Yeah.
Right?
This was
and
the
this
one
is
that
the
they were like.
why,
this is why he had a CGI lip in the Justice League film. Because when they were doing reshoots, they were like, "I can't get rid of the mustache because it's a natural mustache, and I need it for Mission Impossible."
For a better movie. I need for a better movie, I guess.
They did need it for a better movie. I'm glad he did that. That was honestly the correct decision.
Yeah.
It was good. This movie's Fallout is so awesome, man. Mm-hmm. Have you watched Mission Impossible Fallout?
I don't know, man. Like, all these movies blend together for me,
They do blend together. I think I don't know if I'd say they'd blend together. I think the last couple definitely, but that's because they're the ones with the same directors. Mm-hmm. Up until Rogue Nation, they've always had like a different director. But Rogue Nation through to Final Reckoning, all four of those are Christopher McQuarrie films.
Because this is the newest one, right? Is this
Final
the last
Reckoning
movie, right? This is the
I don't know if
Possible.
they've ever gone on record and said like this is definitely going to be the last Mission Impossible film. Mm-hmm. Probably because they want to keep it open in case they want to do more, maybe without Tom Cruise. But this is definitely written to be the finale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we'll see. This brings me to my next point, Max.
Yeah.
People are saying Final Reckoning is not good.
I heard that. So
people are saying Final Reckoning.
That's the thing. I don't really give a shit because I'm waiting for your opinion. Those people could have not seen the other Mission Impossible films. I don't know these people. I don't know them. I don't know these fucking people. I don't care about what they say. I care about what you are going to say about this.
I'm seeing it next Monday.
This is going to be the ultimate opinion for me about.
I'm seeing it. I'm seeing a preview a couple days before it's officially out.
Mm-hmm.
Next Monday. Because I need to watch Dead Reckoning.
Tom Cruise comes into your house like, "Hey, man, you want to see an exclusive viewing?
I would say yes, man.
But the only issue is you got to become a Scientologist, and you're like, fuck.
This is the thing. I don't think he's still a Scientologist, but
I don't know, man. I would say shit about
that.
No.
I don't think that would be a request. I don't think he would make that request.
No, I don't think he would, but
I think he understands that he needs to separate that for business reasons, and it's a smart decision.
And we're such a monolith of media as the podcast. He would be like, "I respect you guys. I'm not gonna pull my religion."
Dude, do you see 2 days ago he was standing on top of the BFI in London? It was awesome.
Did he? Okay. Well,
he had like an interview or whatever. He had like a talk at the BFI in London, and they were like, I think they were giving him a grant, or like he was being honored in some way.
Yeah. They were going to freeze him.
But I think before that, he was standing on top of the roof of the BFI, just like standing there looking around, and people were filming him like, why is Tom Cruise on top of the BFI?
Yeah, and then Biscuit was there playing the cover of the Mission Impossible theme. Bang,
No, wait, that's the wrong one.
Yeah. But it was more like new metal-y, it wasn't like that if Limp Bizkit would be playing that. But yeah, awesome. Tom Cruise, if you want to call us, give us a call.
That would be awesome, man. The president
that would be so awesome.
Movies.
Jump on our couches, I'll let you jump on my couch.
I'm definitely more of a Cruise head now.
Yeah. I
especially after
him.
Magnolia,
that's the thing. I said it once, and I'll say it again. If I had the genie wish, one of the genie wishes would be to fix Tom Cruise. Or maybe I would have broke him that way. That would be monkey paw.
Yeah, I think that would
monkey paw him
because that's the thing. I think the only reason he is so good at what he does is because he is kind of crazy. But we're fortunate in that he's crazy about movies and not
That's
politics.
true.
If he were a politician, he would be ruling America. It would be really bad because he would win.
He's right. He's like, he's doing a speech and then he finishes it. It's doing like a Trump like rally, and then he gets on the motorcycle and then he does a jump through a hoop, and everyone's like, "Whoa!"
It would kill.
Yeah, it would.
He would win, but luckily. That's not him. Luckily, his thing is like, I want to make movies.
Yeah,
we're honestly fortunate that he's obsessed with movies and not like controlling people.
That's true.
Because back when they were filming the last one, and he had that meltdown on set. You know, there's a big thing. He was like screaming at people, and you're like, oh damn, he's going crazy on set. But you listen to the audio, and you're like, honestly, he's in the right.
Wasn't it like COVID stuff that he was like upset about?
People were. I think there were people who were like not following the COVID regulations, and he was freaking out. But it's fair enough because it's like within that period of time, if they fuck those up, all of those people are out of a job.
Yeah, because he literally says that like if you do this, if you fuck this up, everyone's going to be out of a job.
Yeah, exactly.
For a couple of months as we recover from fucking this. You know, like
as crazy as he is, and as crazy as he. As like rabid as he is in the clip, it's like it's pretty justified to have that level of severity when you're trying to make a film in the middle of COVID.
Yeah. You can always be more courteous, but he is human, as a person. Maybe he's not. Maybe that's the issue, is that maybe he isn't a human and we don't know. He's one of the angel creatures from the abyss. But yeah, he's going to bring us world peace with Mission Impossible movies.
I wish. Yeah, I think he could have won at one point, but I think unfortunately, end of the aughts, he was too crazy for people with the Scientology stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then he clawed it back. He clawed it back with Ghost Protocol. That was the comeback.
Clawed it back.
Because he's fucking climbing the Burj Khalifa, man. It's the tallest building in the world. He's climbing up it with the gloves.
Making him the tallest man in the world at the same time, right? Because when you measure someone's height, you measure it from...
He got up there, dude.
You measure it from sea level up, right? And that's how you measure height in reality.
He loves being high up. Because there's those pictures where he's on top of the Burj Khalifa.
Mm-hmm.
He is right there at the top, on top of the tippy top point, hanging on.
Yeah.
He just loves being high up, like a cat, It's like being
he's
elevated.
A cat person, yeah. He was very hairy in Tropic Thunder when he was playing that. That was such a good role. That was such a minor role, but it's such a good performance. I always forget
it, but it's fantastic. And he's all in on it.
Yeah.
He brought his own flair to it, I think. I remember him saying
fuck you up.
He really is just tapping into stuff he's experienced when it comes to movie executives.
Producers, and then executives,
He's one of the best. There's a reason why he's Mr. Movies.
Maybe the people said that Tom Cruise, people that know Tom Cruise personally, he calls you from time to time, asks how you're doing. And I'm like,
this is the thing.
That's
nice.
Why
we know he would be the best politician in the world.
Yeah, that's the thing. I wish Tom Cruise would call me from time to time.
It'd be nice. I don't even call people from time to time. He's doing better than me.
He's doing better. We could be a little bit like Tom. All of us could use being a little bit like Tom Cruise sometimes when you think about it.
Not just in that, but the dedication to your craft and your work.
Dedication, yeah, exactly. Apply. Be the Tom Cruise
and he's
of
doing
your craft.
He's doing all these crazy, dangerous stunts without a helmet and stuff, and it's like, as bad as that is, the worst thing is to make a stunt guy do it without a helmet.
Exactly, like
That would be the bad thing.
James Cameron in The Abyss, where they made all his actors drown.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
That
he
was
was
pretty
also
bad.
kind of drowning.
At least he was drowning with them.
He was drowning with him. Yeah, exactly.
Another crazy thing about the Mission Impossible films for me is how prevalent Simon Pegg is after He's introduced in Mission Impossible 3 as just like an IT guy.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But after that, he's like
that IT
he's like
guy,
main
right?
cast. He's like he's like on the field doing stuff. There's a great bit in Rogue Nation where he's in the car with Ethan Hunt driving around and he's freaking out. He's rumbling and tumbling and rolling over. Mm-hmm. And I just don't expect that from Simon Pegg.
You don't expect it from... What do you mean by you don't expect...
Just because
you find it strange?
Him being front and center, maybe not front and center, but at the forefront of a big Hollywood action blockbuster.
Oh, you mean
just
that?
doesn't fit Simon Pegg at all. It just doesn't fit him. It just doesn't make sense. But at the same time, it works so well in these movies. Benji is a great character. He's a great comic relief,
Okay. Well, that's the exclusive next week,
Yeah,
right?
I'll talk about Dead
get
Reckoning
the final,
Final Reckoning.
The final, the ultimate cumulative rating by Ben, which is the only rating that matters. Because he has covered all the movies up to this point, so you know that he actually watched them.
I'm very basic. I think my final ranking of these films is going to be very similar to the majority of people's.
Okay.
But I think that's because there's not too much. Like, at the end of the day, they're Mission Impossible films. You know? They're all fun. They're all entertaining at the end of the day. Even if some are weaker than others. It's not like I may not like Mission Impossible 2 or 3 as much as all of the other ones, but I can see myself watching them again, I can be like, I'd watch Mission Impossible 2 and 3, even though they're not like incredible.
It's a Mission Impossible not to have fun watching
It
Mission
honestly
Impossible.
is.
There you go. That's
Ethan Hunt,
you can take that one.
if
Tom Cruise.
Ethan
Mr.
Hunt's
Tom Cruise.
mission was to not enjoy a Mission Impossible film, he would be the first one he wouldn't be able to complete.
Yeah, he wouldn't complete. He was like, "I'm sorry, I gotta jump off this building without a parachute and then slide down the side in a way where I ramp off into and fly into a pool or something." I don't know.
And you know what else? Rogue Nation, dude, is Wrath of Khan. It's like it's the same thing where it's like Kirk is like, I'll never lose.
Yeah.
Anything. I'm always gonna win. Except Ethan Hunt, he does win. Except he doesn't.
He didn't even have to change the programming in the simulation. He just won.
It's seriously it's like gambler's fallacy if it worked.
Yeah, exactly.
He just keeps betting and eventually he just wins, and it's like, all right, mission possible.
Dun 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 dun. He could, yeah.
What a good franchise! I love it. Yeah. I love it. It was a good watch. We'll see about the last one. I haven't got my hopes too high now for Final Reckoning, but I don't know, because a lot of people don't really like Dead Reckoning very much either. So if I end up enjoying Dead Reckoning, I might enjoy Final Reckoning as well.
Reckoning, Final Reckoning.
I want to talk about this really quickly as well, if you don't mind, Megs.
Yeah, sure.
Have you heard this thing about the rehearsal?
No, I haven't been watching it, so I need to probably watch. Something bad happened, right? Something like weird, something not like
this. That's what I wanted to talk about. So in like episode 2, he sets up this like fake singing competition.
Oh, I think I scanned it with my eyes.
Wings of Voice or whatever, right?
Yeah. And
there's this one performer who was who took part in it. Says she lost $10,000 taking part in it.
How? Why did she have to put money into this?
No, she didn't put money into it. What she did was, so this lady had been on The Voice before, apparently. Okay. Lana Love is her name. She'd been on The Voice before and stuff. She's got an album coming out soon, which is maybe the real reason why she's making the article.
That's true, yeah.
But she finds out about this HBO Wings of Voice thing that's part of like a show for HBO, right?
Okay, yeah.
And she's New York based, but they're doing this in LA, and she flies out for separate auditions for this thing 3 times.
Well, like so she did an audition, then she would fly back to New York.
I
and
think
then
that's
she'd
the
get another
implication, and then it would go further, and it's like, oh, next step, time to fly back out to LA.
Okay.
To do the next bit, and then go back to New York, and then third round of it, and like time to go back to LA.
Okay.
It's kind of crazy. I don't get how you have the sense to do that. I feel like if there's an audition in LA, you're like, I should probably not fly out there for that much. Right?
If she was, I guess if there's an implication that like a audition, like series of auditions is going to lead to something, right? Then like if it was like a real audition, right? You in the case this wasn't, right? I would imagine, right?
That's I think that's the sticky part. That's the little gray area. Is that
like,
although the competition
audition,
on it
then
isn't real, right?
Yeah, if you fail the audition, then you're like, well, I didn't make it through, right? But if the implication is that there is nothing at the end of this chains of auditions, then there is a little bit of a, this isn't very nice. But
that's the thing.
You know?
That's the thing. I think that's also like I think it would. You need to see the show because this season has been great so far, better than the first by a mile.
All right, yeah. I need to just sit down and watch it because just haven't been in the mood for like shows for some reason. Just really not in there. Like I tried watching Andor and I just got stuck on the 4th.
Yeah, I've been meaning to watch Andor, but I just haven't built up the I'll watch it emotion yet.
Yeah, it's just like whenever I like sit down and I'm like, oh, I could watch something. I feel like watching like a movie, right? Than sitting down and doing a show. Yeah, and yeah, I just I don't know.
Well, we can talk about it more when you've caught up because it's like the way it's set up in the show, at least, is that it sounds like it's pretty straightforward. That it's like a pilot based singing competition where the final is you get to sing in a recreation of like a Chicago airport or something.
Okay. Okay.
So I don't understand how you have that as your final and you're like, yeah, I'll fly out 3 times for that.
No, I guess, yeah, if it's like not like a weird performance that's fake, then yeah, I can kind of, yeah.
We'll see.
But yeah, I watched a bunch of stuff, nothing like that thing. There is a thing that I wanted to kind of talk about, which is, I told you that I watched this, which is the final cut.
Oh,
AKA,
yeah, the French
AKA,
version.
AKA Final Cut of the Dead, but the French made it.
The French remake of One Cut of the Dead. Yeah, I wanted to hear about this because I feel like I've heard about this, but I don't know anything about it. And I can imagine it not being particularly good.
There's a lot of problems I have with this movie because of the choices that were made in this movie, is the way they kind of shaped the story, because this movie is technically what I would consider like a sequel. I don't know.
Okay.
Because the reason for it is because in the world of this movie, the original movie exists.
So One Cut of the Dead, just so we can give context, is a movie that presents itself as a zombie film, and then halfway through the twist is that what we watched before was something made by like a group of student actors for a TV station. And then the second half of the film is showing here's how they made it all in one cut, all of the little like silly mistakes and stuff, and the little story beats that happen around it. And it's a nice reveal. It's a very charming film.
It's a charming film. It's a cute film. Like, you feel like you can't help but smile at the end.
It's very endearing because you're like, it feels. I mean, it was a movie made by a literal acting school for their
and it was
students,
a huge success compared to what they were
huge success
expecting.
because it's
to
a
be.
clever little idea. It's a clever little twist, and it's very well executed.
Yeah, and the mystery of all the all the things that happened in the first half with the movie that they made, the reveals that you get in the second half was like, why did this happen? You know, there's like a bit where a camera falls on the ground and you're like, what's going on? And then you get the explanation of it in the second half and you're like, oh, and you get like there are many little bits of that in the movie, and it's great, right? Because you go like, oh, that's what happened. You know, you get like an explanation.
But what you're saying is that the French version is almost taking it a step further, where that film exists within the French version already.
But at the same time, it doesn't do anything with that. So what happens in this movie is that the production company that asks, you know, in the original, asks them to make the live stream of a horror film. That's basically what they're doing in the first one, in one cut.
It's like a TV special or something.
Yeah, TV special. The same production company goes to France and asks some like no-name French director to do the same thing.
Okay.
So they literally give him a booklet. Like there is a scene in this movie where they open a booklet where they have like the front cover of the DVD of the, you know, like the director holding the camera, you know, and covered in blood, and like showing what the movie is about, you know, like a pitch book, let's say that, of the other movie, you know. And the thing about the strangest thing, so like, okay, I kind of get it. I guess I can, at the beginning when you're watching this, like I can see maybe this working, you know, but you continue watching the movie and you get exactly the same story beats that happened in the original. So the fucking director also has a daughter. They have the scene with the fake tears, exactly the same. He has a wife that gets into her roles too much. She goes crazy during the shoot. There is a guy that gets drunk before the shoot. There is two actors are missing from the shoot. You know, exactly the same things go wrong, and there are exactly the same story beats in this movie.
It's interesting. It feels like to me when somebody makes a joke and then everybody laughs at it. Everybody's like, that's a good joke. And then another guy tries to take the joke like a step further, and everybody's like, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, like, it's so like, so the worst crime that this movie goes, because I guess you can execute it, you can do it fine, but the movie isn't endearing anymore because it takes comparably, it takes itself a little bit too serious. It doesn't have that like cheesiness to that the original had.
It's very schmaltzy. The other one is very corny.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and it's
they're
like
playing it straight. They're playing the French version straight.
One of the not really
people.
Strange, but like there's like I think the best comparison to explain it would be there's this scene with the wife. She talks about doing martial arts. And the martial arts she does are the TV martial arts, and she goes like pop, and she lifts her arms up, and you got like and it's like silly, it's like funny, like silly, you know.
Okay.
But in the French version, the wife does Krav Maga, and she like starts like beating up the main character, like all cool, and you're like, wow, you know, this isn't funny, you know, like this isn't like, you know, this like the kind of silliness is got like, you know, extracted from that scene, because it's like they couldn't be silly, they had to be serious, you know what I mean, like they couldn't let themselves be a little bit cringe, you know, they couldn't they had to be you know, serious in a way, you know. And it's you know, like there's like this weird choices where the production company insists that you use this exact script and stuff. You have to use the Japanese names and things like that. But it's like, it's such a weak, like,
good.
It's
a little contrived.
It's a contrived film. It feels like the things like that. Exactly, with like, you need to use the same names and you talk about how it's in Japan, although you're recording in France, and it doesn't make sense. You know, they feel contrived, and they feel like a way to like a handicap, so they don't actually have to do much. Like it feels like, because it, like, there would be, I feel like it would be, could have been a really interesting film where like they take that, they make a sequel, but they make a French version of it. They make a new story and they make it with a one cut and they try to do it live, you know. But because it does literally the exact same story beats happen during the production, and the silly like the it's just so soulless in a way, you know. And yeah, just a very kind of strange choice, laziest way basically, you know, to create a remake of this idea. And I think like because the original was so strong, it hurts even more, you know. In this, he has like the exact same thing with like the daughter. He's like a deadbeat director, you know. He makes commercials. She loves movies, you know, and she wants him to try. It's like exactly the same fucking beats, you know. And it's like the strangest choice is like including the fact that the original film was made, because it makes it even stranger. Like the same things happen. Those things happen. Those things. How is that possible that those things happen exactly the same way, like they did in that other production? You know, like that's like it. Because it's a bad film, you end up like picking at it like that. You know, it's a very strange. Like, and biggest sin of all.
Biggest sin.
It's not in one cut.
Oh,
they couldn't do it. That's the funniest thing about it.
Man.
It was they didn't do it. They did it in 2 long cuts. And I was like, all right. I was like, wow.
I like that does kind of defeat the
yeah, exactly, you know.
The whole premise of the film is around the fact that they have to do it in like a one take.
Exactly. So it is very it's interesting how you could like not like buy it, hope that you buy a successful idea and you just remake it and hope it's good, you know. I don't know, but yeah,
you know, those French, I bet they were probably looking at it like, oh, that's cute. Time for the people who invented art cinema. Don't worry. Don't worry. We'll take it from here. We love the sketch you did. It's time for the full piece. Don't worry.
We have the oldest cinema in the world or whatever. You know, we're going to make it right. This time.
This is like it's a real movie now. Taking it off your hands. There's a good proof of concept you did. Don't worry. We'll bring it to life.
The big boys are coming in, you know.
Don't worry.
To do it proper, you know. But you know,
people are gonna love it.
I had to watch that. Strange. That was kind of off of the back that I watched Jacob's Ladder, which was another remake of Jacob's Ladder. So I was like, that's quite fitting for me to watch that. But there was another, a little bit, I guess. Not a remake. I watched a movie called Nil by Mouth.
Okay.
Which is the only credit, writing credit and directing credit by Gary Oldman. Okay. The only movie he made, made, you know, directed. The interesting thing about it's a very sad film. It's a film portraying like a working class family, dysfunctional working class family, drugs, you know, violence, just immense domestic abuse. You know, I would not watch this movie if that's triggering for you, because it's this movie goes hard in the portrayal of
content warning.
It's absolutely like it's insane. You know, like it's one of those movies. It's like it was a movie that was just kind of stuck on my watch list, and I eventually like pulled the trigger. I knew it's like this sort of like Don't Look Now. Well, not Don't Look Now. What Jesus Christ? What is it called? The Belarusian war film. I forgot the name.
Well, Come and See.
Come and See. Jesus, Don't Look Now. Jesus Christ, that's like some garbage horror film. Come and See. It's a very kind of, in a sense of like leaving you kind of drained, you know, this movie of like emotions, right? Because it's so the matter is so serious and the portrayal of it is so kind of natural, and just the idea that this sort of stuff could be happening, like, you know, your neighbors could be doing this right now, you know, like it wouldn't watch this movie if you're in a bad place.
Sure.
This is actually also the kind of the movie that brought Ray Whitson, which is the guy who played Sexy Beast. Sexy Beast. That was his movie that pushed him into the starlight as like a proper actor. I guess an interesting fact. But the thing that I'm not going to talk much about it in terms of just like covering it, but I recommend it if you got the strength to watch it. But there is one thing that I wanted to specifically mention in this movie about this movie is this movie about a father that absolutely completely ruins his family, basically, assaults them, tortures them, basically, he's the villain of this story, just like a real villain, like someone that can be anywhere, you could
evil,
be evil person, and this Gary Oldman thought it would be a good idea to put at the end of this movie dedicated to my father at the end of this movie.
Yeah.
Which I was watching this movie and I saw that and I was like, oh, that's interesting, maybe there's something based on his life, in this, Turns out no. There is an interview where, you guys ask that question about it and he gets really angry and he talks about how people are just sensationalizing, they're trying to get a scoop, about him. It was based off it's half fictional, half of a person that he knew at the time. And I thought about it and I was like, I'm sorry, Mr. Oldman, but I don't think that's the greatest placement for a dedication to your father at the end of a movie where the father is the most evilest person you ever met,
Well, maybe it was like, this is dedicated to my dad because my dad was like the opposite of this guy.
Yeah, exactly. It could be that. But this must have been such an issue.
Like, this is like dedicated to you, Dad. I'm thankful you weren't like this.
You
guy.
went like that.
Because you could have been really bad, but you weren't.
Yeah, exactly. And
you're right.
It does seem to be an issue where people watch this and they assume this, because he was very angry about people assuming this after, and it seems to be like a thing that people assume because it's contextual, you got the context and then you get dedicated to your father and it's like, to my father, and you're like, oh, okay, so you kind of package them together and it makes this unfortunate, puts an unfortunate equal sign in between these two things, you know?
Better Man, in Better Man, it shows his dad was pretty horrible, abandoned his family and stuff.
To watch football.
But at the end of the film, he forgave him.
Yeah, that's true.
He forgave him. And although the film wasn't dedicated to him,
and he
there's
did
reconciliation at the end. Maybe
he
that's
did it
Gary
his
Oldman
way
was
too
going
at
for.
the end.
He did it his way.
You did it my way. But yeah, that's mostly what I've been watching. I watched the stuff that we talked about before.
Yeah, I watched stuff and Shin.
And Shin and fucking bullshit. And I played the RoboCop game, which was pretty fun.
Yeah,
and finished it. Good. Yeah. It makes you feel like RoboCop, which is great. But yeah, we've already been talking for a long while, so I'm not gonna engage in anything else.
We'll leave it.
Leave it at that. And
thank you for listening to Ensigns. Remember, we're dropping the dead.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
They're in our Max phase, formerly HBO Max, now currently HBO Max.
That's true.
If you'd like to hear more Ensigns, it's going to take a while to change the name, so for now, keep searching Dead Ensigns.
Yeah. But send it to the email you want to send your stuff to is still Dead Ensigns, right?
Yeah, well, like I just said, it's going to take a while to update that. I'll let you know when it's changed officially, but for now, you can search Dead Ensigns on YouTube and find us there, where you can like the podcast, subscribe, and leave a comment. If you're not inclined to doing all that work, you can go to any various podcast app like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, various other podcast apps. Look up Dead Ensigns. Remember, it's not updated yet. Don't do Ensigns. It's Dead Ensigns still. Our podcast is Ensigns. The dropping is
God
dead. It's
damn
not
it.
gone yet.
It's crazy.
In those places, you'll also be able to like or review and save it and subscribe. I think you can even leave comments on Spotify now.
Yeah, now they added it. I think that's
So
recent.
you can leave
yeah.
a comment on Spotify if you want. I don't know if we'll get a notification that that's there, but we might see it.
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
Leave one if you want.
randomly, and I check from one to time.
And if you want to send a direct message, you can email deadensigns@gmail.com. It's deadensigns@gmail.com. Write whatever message and we'll read it, and we'll probably talk about it on the show if you do. So yes, that's it. Have a good week.
Yeah.
Enjoy the Tom Cruise's antics and whatever else we talked about over the last hour and a half. Bye.
This episode of the podcast is dedicated to my father. Bye.
It's shorted out, sir. We're gonna have to phaser it.
Then what are you waiting for?
Right away, sir.
Faster would be better, Ensign.
I can't, sir. We don't want to...
That's enough.
But, sir...
Stand aside, Carlton. I'm going through. You're alive. Good.